'cause we all have.
Everything started when we got to the point in life in which other people just couldn't make decisions for us anymore. We realized that sometimes, or most of the time, people feel pressured for making the most important choice of deciding what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. But sometimes we forget that since we were born, people have been making crucial decisions for us, and now they are all expecting us to know how to make them out of the blue.
This is when we decided we wanted to talk about the gap years. The problem was all the common thoughts we always heard were,
taking a gap year will make you forget all you've learned in school.
You are making a huge mistake.
You'll get off track.
You need to be rich.
You won't do anything, and you'll be wasting your time and mine.
Say, hold on. I said, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Let's redefine the concept, shall we? A gap year is a period of time between high school and college where a student takes time away from the classroom to continue their education in other meaningful ways.
But the most important thing you have to have in mind is that a gap year without a goal-setting structure won't have a positive outcome.
Society likes to believe that we are already mature enough, but our brain totally disagrees. I want to explain to you a little bit about the biological or neurological benefits that you can get when taking a gap year. Okay, so it doesn't matter how smart you are or how well you scored in exams like SAT or ACT. Good judgment isn't something you can excel in, at least not yet. The rational part of a teen's brain and the one in charge of the decision making is the frontal lobe, and it isn't fully developed and won't be until the age of 25 or so. In teenagers' brain, the connection between the emotional part of the brain and the decision-making center are still developing, and not necessarily at the same rate. That's why teens experience overwhelming emotional input, and that's why they can't explain later on what they were thinking. So basically, at this stage of life, the brain is like a Ferrari with weak brakes. The gap year in numbers is 88% of students who took a gap year showed to have better employability rates later on. 84% acquired new skills during this period of time. 97% increased maturity. 80% of gappers worked during the gap year. 84% showed greater academic results on university when compared to the high school ones. And 41% learned another language. And yes, we know there are some things that may worry you. For example, you might lose track of your high school friends for a while, but remember, the world is full of extraordinary people waiting to be found. And yes, there is still a possibility that gappers won't go back to school, but hey, remember, 90% of them do. And you may even lose your study track. But wanna know something? That's regainable.
At last but not least, college dropouts cost the economy of the USA at least $4.5 billion in lost earnings, both federal and state income tax revenue every year. So, no wonder why universities like Harvard and Yale are nowadays encouraging their admitted students to defer enrollment for one gap year to travel, to pursue a special project or activity, work, or even spend time in other meaningful ways. In other words, they're encouraging gap years.
No matter how many years go by, there is always going to be something constant in life, and it is change. People have reinvented themselves throughout history, always creating new things and changing the way of thinking. But have you noticed that everything is completely different compared to the 19th century? The way we've developed our rational minds, our lifestyles, and our comprehension of the universe. But one thing that has maintained itself steady and almost non-changing has been the education system. Don't you think it's time for an update? It's time for us to embrace true learnings and to be able to introduce as part of our education the tool for being able to understand yourself, to understand others, to embrace life and become kinder. The gap year has always been there, hidden, but now it's here.
As the wise man once said, don't let school get in the way of your education.